Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us from. You are on to the program where we review major news that made the headlines across southern Nigeria in the past week. My name is Amzat. With me,
And I'm Louis. Stay tuned for our top-notch news review for the week.
yeah, a lot transpired over the week from dragging Don Pedro Obaseki in the street of Benin to Oyo State, where Governor Sheyi Makinde is being alleged to have misappropriated funds meant for Bodija explosion victims. Stay tuned for details of the news review. Okay, welcome back. Louis, over the week, Sheyi Makinde alleged to have misappropriated 50 billion meant for victims of the Bodija explosion.
Well, Hamzat, you see, here we are again talking about government's lack of transparency and accountability. It's a shame, I would say, in this time when uh, we have leaders who are supposed to show good example, who are supposed to have this affection and have this have empathy for the people. It seems that's not what we are having in our society, and it's really more will I say it's really laughable to discover that Ayo Fayose is not the one telling the world what really transpired. After that explosion, I expected the government to be more compassionate on persons who were involved. But what are we hearing today? That 50 billion was given to the state governor for to help cushion the effects of the bomb blast. We could remember that those explosives were illegally stored. That's high transparent. But let's not go into all of that. But now let's look at the real story. Ayo Fayose is talking about 50 billion being misappropriated, funds for people who were involved in this blast, or rather in this explosion. Now, what I'm really surprised about is sometimes it seems Nigerians don't understand when you say 50 billion. When you hear these billions, to us it just seems like we are talking about 500,000 or 10 million.
That's no small money.
50 billion is a whole lot of money, and for till today, for we to still have persons who were affected. In fact, I heard over 50 houses were razed down by that explosion. Not talking of the lives, those who sustain serious degrees of injuries. Now, Ayo Fayose is now saying that these monies were misappropriated. And now the government is telling us that Seyi Makinde is saying that he has spent over 20 billion before he was giving 30 billion, and he's saying it was the federal government only issued 30 billion. But surprisingly, I'm surprised that by till now the federal government, they are yet to give a statement, or to give a press release on that matter, because I expect the federal government to swing into action and let Nigeria know how much was really given to the governor. Because as it stands now, it's like we don't know who is saying the truth. We don't know if Seyi Makinde is saying the truth, or if Ayo Fayose is saying the truth, or if we don't really know. So now if he's saying he was giving 30 billion, but 30 billion is still a whole lot of money. How was the 30 billion spent? Now the victims of this incident should come. There should be a record, a receipt, This was how the money was spent. This is what, because I believe there's no way 30 billion will be spent, and till this day we will not see the persons who were affected coming out to say, oh, this is, we are beneficiaries. I will say this, all what we are seeing now is just showing how the governments of the day lack transparency, and how these governments, in fact, how our governments, they use these disasters, they benefit a whole lot from it. Instead of the people benefiting, from what we are seeing, it seems it's the governments that are benefiting more. So I believe this is not a good one. This is not a good one at all. And even now, the likes of Aifasho is coming out to condemn this act. We know if they were still very good pass, we would not have heard anything. So I would say the federal government need to come up, if I come out at this time and make a release, or rather say something, so that Nigerians will know what is really going on. Because as it stands now, we don't know who is saying the truth. We don't know what is going on. So the federal government need to clear the air. So
Exactly, you are correct. Because it is the federal government that release these funds. So it is important that at this time, the federal government come outside to issue a statement so that we know how much was requested, how much have been released to the government of Oyo State, led by Governor Seyi Makinde. However, the case here has to do with transparency and accountability, because we know Seyi Makinde is swore to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to abide by the Constitution. We don't need to wait for the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, to spill the bean for us to have known that such an amount was released to the Seyi Makinde-led Oyo State government. Fayose is not from Oyo State, he's from Ekiti State. So what are the indigenes, what are the citizens of Oyo State, what are they doing that we have to wait for Ayo Fayose, who was a very close friend of Seyi Makinde? If not that they fell apart politically, we would have heard about this 50 million, 30 million, how much was released or how much was not released or how much was requested. However, Seyi Makinde should have done well. He should have come out before now. The moment he requested for that 50 billion, he would have put the state on the know, would have been transparent, would have let the people of Oyo State know that, wow, we are requesting for this particular amount to cushion the effect of those that have been affected by this explosion in Bodija. Then when the money comes, or whatever amount comes, Seyi Makinde ought to have made it public, would have made the people of the state know that, oh, a particular amount have been released by the federal government. So we are just trying to see what we can do to pursue the balance to complete the 50 million. No, Seyi Makinde did not do that. But he is doing it today because why? Fayose have exposed him, and that is a big slap on the person of Seyi Makinde, who many are touting to be a presidential candidate, so to speak. Just imagine 50 billion, he could not give account. Is that caliber of person are we now projecting to become the president of a country as Nigeria? No. By going the way of receiving money without letting the people of the state know is enough to knock him off whatever position he want to contest for a future, because this act shows that he is unreliable, is not trustworthy. The people should not rely on him going forward, because the money, the 50 million or 30 million that was released or whatever, is not for Seyi Makinde, is for the victims, the people of Bodija, those that were affected by the explosion. But till today, we have not seen the indigenous or the victims come outside to say, we've received this like you are lighted, we received that. It is not the state government that is coming outside to tell us that, oh, we'll be spending, we'll build this house, we've renovated this road, we've done this out of the money to see how we can cushion the effect of this bomb blast. But for me, the question is, why now? Why will Seyi Makinde wait for the whistleblower, Ayo Fayose, to blow the whistle before he start to explain to the people he has sworn oaths to be transparent to be accountable to be open to lead with utmost honesty. Why is it now that Seyi Makinde is explaining to them? For me, I would say it is enough for him to apologize.
Yeah.
For him to have kept them in the dark this far, he ought to have come outside and apologize instead of coming now to be explained to the people how much was received, how much have been spent so far.
Hamzat, just this year, the 1st of January, the federal government has just kick-started the new tax regime.
Wow.
So in fact, there have been so much reactions as regards to this tax regime. So what are your views?
Man, Louis, you see, there's so much reaction. The reaction will be there, will continue to be there. Even before this 1st of January, the reaction has been there. But the point is, if you see the whole effort that the federal government put in to amend the tax law to come up with this new tax regime to ensure that Nigerians are well abreast about what is coming in the coming year, that is this new year we are in now. They invested fortune to ensure that the new tax regime kick off as planned, which have kicked off like we highlighted. But if only the federal government we invest such energy, such resources in ensuring that Nigerians, the taxpayers, have value for their taxes, I don't think there will be much reaction before now, even after now, even now, there will not be that much reaction. But because Nigerians, especially the taxpayers, believe that they are not getting much value of the tax they are paying, that is the reason for the much noise. So besides, going forward, I think it's an opportunity now for the federal government to see that the public, the taxpayers, Nigerians, beginning to see what the tax money, the tax being paid is being used for. There are no abandoned projects. We have electricity. We have quality education, quality healthcare delivery. We have what we call employment. We have jobs. What they call the creating an enabling environment to ensure businesses thrive. Investing resources that we ensure taxpayers have value for their money. That is what we encourage people to pay tax. Yes, we know that at this time, what we call expanding the tax net to ensure those that are not be paying tax begin to pay tax is a good one, because now the federal government will have more money for more projects, for more developmental projects. Yes, but in doing so, we should ensure that taxpayers have value for their money. And mind us, if you remember section 16 2D, section 16 subsection 2D talked about government ensuring that there is welfare, there is a social welfare for unemployed, for the elderly, for the sick. But the government are not investing energy, they are not investing resources to see that that section of the constitution come into play, whereby they will make provision for those that are graduating from the university or any tertiary institution. If you are a graduate, you have a particular form you fill that will further clarify that yes, this woman, this man is a fresh graduate, whereby at a particular time, if it's in 2 weeks, if it's a month, you will be receiving a stipend pending when we get a full-time job. But we are not seeing this. We are not seeing this, because I know if we are seeing this, people will not see paying tax as an issue. Yes, paying tax is very important. It is very ideal that every citizens pay their tax, because why? It's one of the citizens' core responsibility. Pay your tax. Yes, it's very important. So if you for the citizens to take up that role, to see it as their responsibility to pay their tax, I believe that is when they are seeing what their tax is doing for them. That is only when you see them pay tax without much noise.
Yes, you've you said it all. Now, in addition to what you just said, it's really, will I say, funny when it comes to when the government, they are stressing so much on payment of tax, because ordinarily this is supposed to be the duty of every citizen. You see, it's only in this part of the world. It's not like you go about trying to sensitize people on the need to pay tax. If I believe if the government have been playing their role, if the government have been very responsible in meeting the needs, the aspirations of its citizens, it wouldn't be stirring up this drama that we are having now. So you see, we live in a country where at the end of the day, funds are embezzled. So when you see these occurrences, it keeps occurring day in, day out. It kills the passion for citizens to live up to that responsibility of paying their taxes. So I believe this is a new dispensation. Now, President Tinubu, if he is trying to ensure that taxes are are now centralized, so it's a different ball game now. So to me, what the government need to do, they just need to show they are responsible. They just need to be more responsive to the citizens by making sure that, in fact, the country, there are infrastructures on ground. These taxes should be used. It should be well utilized to meet the needs, the aspirations, the yearnings of the people. And you talked about section
16, subsection 2D.
Subsection 2D, yes. That part that talks about welfare. Taking where the government looks pay more attention to the welfare of the people, the elderly, and all of that. So now that is what every government is supposed to be gearing towards. Now I believe at this time, what the government should be looking at how they can make life better for the citizens. That is why a lot of persons are seeing this tax regime as oppressive, because they believe that a whole lot have been taken from them already. So it's not like the government is trying to come and take more. So what the government needs to do now, they should look at on how they can meet the needs of people, like the welfare of the citizens should be of paramount concern, should be utmost, should be a priority. They should look out for numbers of unemployed Nigerians, how they can provide jobs, how food will be available for every Nigerian, how healthcare, better healthcare, not our politicians, they are ill, or when they fall sick, they are traveling abroad for treatment. No, we should have good medical facilities, so that when anyone falls ill, we don't even have to travel outside Nigeria. We can be treated here. The government should be able to create an enabling environment that will accommodate professionals. Even possible, they can bring expatriates, as it was in those days where we have expatriates working in Nigeria. These things will make people see the need to pay taxes. You don't need to be shouting. If at the end of the day, Nigerians, they play their role by paying these taxes, and they end up not seeing the need, or rather they end up not seeing the value
for their tax,
I believe next year there should be no need to come back, because it might lead to uproar and it can lead to protest.
Exactly, because what you are just trying to say here is that it is not just be a mere change from the Federal Land Revenue Service to the Nigerian Revenue Service. It should be a change from taxpayers' money going to few individuals' pockets to taxpayers' money working for
For the people.
taxpayers.
This is 2026, and the President Tinubu, made promises that 2026 we should expect uh, good a good economy and enhanced security. So, what are your views pertaining this statement?
We've been hearing a statement of economic boosts, enhanced security, especially in the new year. Not just the president, Bola Tinubu, governors of different states across the 36 states, they made one or two speech or the other just to usher in the new year to give citizens hope that the year 2026 we usher in glad tidings, good things. We've heard a lot before now, judging from where we are coming from. So what we are saying today with this promise of a robust economy come this year 2026, we want action to speak louder because before now Nigerians have been let me say they have suffered the economic hardship occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy before now. So going forward, we want a situation whereby we don't need to wait for the president to promise us that the economic will be good. We are going to experience bumper harvest. This will happen, that will happen. We just as citizens, we just want to see those things materialize. We just want to see supply of food, cheap food. We see high rate of employment, not unemployment. We see reduced insecurity. In all, what we are saying is that we just want action to speak louder. So we hope that the price of fuel continue to slash and the price of foodstuff continue to go down, and we begin to see the amount of infrastructural works ongoing across every nook and cranny of Nigeria. I will begin to see reports and cases of kidnappings, insecurity, killings across every letter belt of Nigeria reduced to the barest minimum. So we begin to see that, we begin to experience that. We can say yes, what the president said at the beginning of the year, 1st of January 2026, is beginning to materialize. So where we will not see that, we will still begin to see is normal rhetoric, normal words as usual.
Yeah, you just said it all. Like you rightly said, and in addition to what you just said, you made a mention of employment. Made mention and in addition to what you just said, you made a mention of employment. Made mention of food security. You understand? That is the major area I really want the government to look at. So, like you just said, in fact, it's just like you took the words out of my mouth. I'm tired of promises. You understand? So I don't believe promises are what we should be living with at this point in time. What we really need as a country is good governance. Is in fact, before election, I believe the president had these things he's telling us. He had all of them in his manifestos. This is what these were part of his campaign promises. There's no need to start re-echoing or re-emphasizing on it when we are expecting so much and we've not gotten much of what we expect. So I believe if the president should go outside, if he should go out in the streets, go out to the streets and sample opinions from Nigerians, what first thing he will hear the people say is, we need food, our children are jobless, we have millions of unemployed graduates, what are their hopes of getting job? So our healthcare, what are the plans, or what is the government, what do they have in plans? So these are the areas. Now I'm looking at areas of unemployment. If the government can deal with that, because I remember the president made mention of giving jobs to our millions of youths, but till this day I don't know how many, if we've been able to even have a 200,000 youth or even 100,000 youths who have been employed during this regime. They should create an enabling environment for the farmers in those areas, because Benue State, Plateau State, these are areas where agriculture is in fact is a mainstay. So, and this is one of the reasons why in some areas in Nigeria today we are having increment in food price, because this majority of the place of the farmers, majority of the farmers in these areas, they left the farms as a result of insecurity. So when are they going back to their farms? These are questions that beg answers. And again, the government must look at, we already talked about unemployment, the government must look at that area 2026, because when the youths are fully engaged, it will help to curb insecurity. Because most of the problems we are having today in our country, if you look at who are the persons involved, they are youths,
Young people.
we have young people who have nothing to do, so they are used for social vices. So when the youths are fully engaged, it will put an end to youth restlessness, because what we are having in our country today is youth restlessness. The youth are restless, and when they become restless, what happens? That's where they become frustrated and they become aggressive.
They indulge in vices.
And they indulge in all of this. So if the government can see how they look at the area of youth empowerment, if you can't create jobs for the, if you can't create a job for the youth, create an enabling environment. If you can't create an enabling environment, empower these youths through any way possible, so that they can have something meaningful to do with their lives. And also, the government must look at this area of agriculture. And before you look at agriculture, security must be the first thing you must look at, because a lot of persons are running away from their farms. So I believe 2026 should be that year when banditry, issue of banditry, insecurity, our villages being destroyed, be put to an end. If at least, if not totally, but to a very large extent, there should be victory. We can say, okay, yes, people can start returning back to their villages and go back to their farms and go back to their businesses. So we don't have people becoming refugees in their own states. So I believe the government should look at on how they can make sure these IDP camps we are having in the country, they return back to their villages and ensure these communities are safer than it, just like it was before this whole issue of banditry, insecurity took over the system. Just last week, okay, and last year to be precise, something happened in the city of Benin that has stirred reactions from both the international society and even, in fact, everyone is saying so much about it. There have been mixed reactions, and a lot of persons have given their views, or rather their opinions as regards to the matter. It's the issue of Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, who was dragged along the streets of Benin. So a lot of persons are saying, oh, why was this action? Why was it necessary? What must have led to all of this in the first place? So I know you must have you must have gone through this the reports, and you must have done your own findings as well. So I would like to ask, what is your opinion as regards to this
Yes,
matter?
thank you, Luis. You know why I'm laughing. When you say your opinion, I
Yes.
believe that it's more comfortable for me
Yes.
when you say my opinion because I am not speaking for the palace, neither am I speaking for Don Pedro or Baseki. Yes, don't forget we are reviewing the
Yeah.
major news that made headlines in the last week. So, and the dragging of Don Pedro Obaseki formed part of the news that made headline in southern
Yeah.
Nigeria
A
the
very
past
big, a
week.
very big news.
The big news of that. Besides, it was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. It's unfortunate, and at the same time, it's avoidable.
Yeah.
Very avoidable.
Mm.
Considering the fact that that same Don Pedro Obaseki, time past, have been an ambassador of this great kingdom, Benin Kingdom. That man is known to have projected the Benin Kingdom, a PhD holder, that one who is vast in Benin history, is no kid on the block when we are talking about Benin, Edo, talking about our culture and tradition. However, like I said, it was avoidable considering the fact that the immediate past governor of Edo State, talking about Godwin Obaseki, is seen by the palace subjects, by many from the kingdom, as one who have betrayed the palace regards as concerns the looted artifacts. And again, talking about Albert Obaze, the social media guy who is a pro Obaseki supporter, an ardent supporter of Gordon Obaseki, always casting aspersion via his social media rants at the palace. So, Obaseki and Albert Obaze are seen by many Edo people, especially those loyal to the palace, those who see themselves as subject to the His Royal Majesty, the Omonobanedu Oba Ewari II,
Neo Gidigan.
Ogidigan confirmed. They see him as their king. So they see those two persons I mentioned now, talking about Godwin Obaseki and Albert Obaze, as an enemy of the palace.
Ogioba.
Ogioba, that is in Benin word, they see them as enemy of the Oba. That is what Ogioba stands for. In so doing, they went as far as UK, United Kingdom, where the immediate past governor is doing what they call the meet and greet event. And in that event, you see them try to, whenever they are talking about Edo, they try to cast aspersion at the palace. It was at that same event we saw the person of Don Pedro Obaseki, where he was making comments that have to do with Edoya Atokbe, Obaga Atokbe, something like that, which many, like I say, loyalists to the palace, subject of the palace, which many see as disparaging, like the disrespect to the palace, and it did not go down well with them. So they now categorize the person of Pedro Obaseki among Gordon Obaseki and Albert Obaze. So wisdom should have told Don Pedro Obaseki when he landed in Edo if you have heard about the what people are talking about him and others regarding the palace, the disrespect of the palace, I believe for Pedro Obaseki to have been well aware, to have gotten an hint of what Edo people, what people are saying regarding him siding with the immediate past governor, Godwin Obaseki, and Albert Obaze, who are seen as disrespecting the palace or casting aspersion at the palace as working with them. I believe he would have come outside to either issue a press statement or you brief the press as regarding your stand regarding the controversy surrounding the palace, Moa, and the immediate past government led by Godwin Obaseki. No, you did not do that. You took our time to go to war, to go and play football. Yes, it's your right to so do, but I think he was endangering his life, because I'm not here to tell stories about what transpired or not what transpired. Like I started by saying, I'm just expressing my own opinion regarding the review of the news that made the headlines. I believe it was risky for him to have gone to war, to go and be playing football. Well, darling, you know that same Uwa primary school form part of the Benin Kingdom, where one or two persons who are not happy with what they are hearing, or who are not happy with what they perceive that he must have been part of, must have seen him. So they took it upon themselves to do what? To mob him, to attack him. That led to him being dragged along the street of Igbesawa down to the palace. Good, he said that the palace did not second to what happened to him. By the person of Don Pedro Obaseki, he ought to have known that those persons that mobbed him, those are the persons that were able to come forward to show their faces that yes, they are standing, they are fighting for the palace, even when the palace dissociated itself from their actions. I believe Obaseki would have known that there are hundreds, if not in their thousands, of Edo people who would have loved to have acted like those mob that mobbed him. But education, intelligence, the law, awareness will not make them stick out their neck. But the issue that has to do with reverence, regard, respect for the Benin monarch is more or less like an extremism. It has to do with loyalty. It has to do with reverence. It has to do with protection for what they believe in. So, in doing so, to pounce on Don Pedro Obaseki. Good that he has seek redress, he has petitioned the IGP, and don't forget that the Amnesty International and other human rights groups condemned the attack on Pedro Obaseki. Like I said, it was risky. It was very risky because no subject, no loyalist will see their principal, will see their leader denigrated or disparaged like the way many are doing today. Besides, I think that action should be a clear sign to others who still see casting aspersion at the palace as a normal thing to desist. Not just desist. If they started it before, they should try as much as possible to retrace their step, if possible apologize if they feel that their actions or inactions must have shown disregard for the palace at this time.
In fact, I don't know what to say. You've said it all. You said, in fact, you came from the left and you went to the right on this matter. You looked at the pros and you looked at the cons. In fact, You ended up even saying all I have to say. You see, this matter is really of utmost concern to you because you I saw the way you spoke. Will I say you were very much vociferous as regards to this matter. It's a very good point you've raised because in addition to what you just said, you've been able to give reasons why you've been able to give reasons or rather what necessitated the mob attack and how the person of Dr. Don Pedro Baseki, based on his pedigree, based on his intellectualism, how he ought to have acted because
Guard against it.
you
In the
understand?
first
Because
place.
you see, the Oba of Benin is a revered monarch. Like we said, we have so many persons, in fact, who are loyal and hold that throne in high esteem. So he would have at least be very, very, very prudent with his statement. If you look at the likes of Abba Tobaze, you know, he's not in Benin. He believes he's in the UK and since he arrived in the UK, most of his statements, from the way he's always make, if you follow his statement, he's always sounding out like someone who will never step his foot in the Benin soil. But I'm not trying to say all I'm trying to say as regards to Obaze is he should tread with caution
Yeah.
because you see when it comes to issues concerning the monarch, they have to be you have to apply wisdom because I remember way back when I was growing up when it comes to issues of the Oba of Benin you hear my parents will tell me keep quiet what are you saying mind what you are saying because this you anything you say when it comes to so I grew up with that fear you understand not just fear it's respect like because it's a revered throne so I believe today if you go online you see a lot of social media influencers what they some of them the way they discredit the revered monarch the way they discredit discredit Benin as a place you just the kind of statements some of them just believe because they are not in Nigeria they can say what they like and the person of Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki he never saw this coming he never saw this coming because to him he just made a statement but you see this statement we should be very very careful most especially in as much this gathering or rather the conference or the meeting does not portend good does not give a good impression of the Benin the Benin monarch Benin as a people we must be very very careful to tread with caution so we must use our in fact our social media platforms for positivity so it should not be used to denigrate anybody or anything whatsoever so I will what by for the mob attack I would say things like this I understand even irrespective of the fact that he might have made statements that doesn't go down well with a whole lot of us but please we should try also to in fact
Tread with caution.
to tread with caution so because we shouldn't take law into our hands because if we don't tread with caution this can if this is not discouraged it can end up going the other way just imagine if it has maybe matter went out of hands and maybe during the process there was a reprisal no you know what would have happened
You're talking about they should tread with caution, which is very important. I side with you. Remember, in this whole incident, have led to this same Abat Obade, the house at Amagba, the mother's house or wherever, yeah, that was recently attacked. Yes, it's condemnable, but you see the whole risk. You see the whole risk. Like I said, it is avoidable because we cannot say this was caused by his comments regarding the palace or it is not. But whatever have been happening around the immediate past government led by Godwin Obaseki. I talking about those that have worked with him before. If you check, it has to do with this controversy that have to do with the Mowa, the Palace, Obaseki issue. Yes, because
that has stirred
a lot of controversy,
yes,
and it has
yes.
further polarized the state,
Yes.
which is quite unfortunate. I think that was what Don Pedro Obaseki would have taken down to UK, where they did the meet and greet, where he would have taken opportunity to see how he would have preached unity instead of using words that may not go well with some section of the populace. And again, that same UK, that same British, they are the looters. They are the ones that invaded the Benin Kingdom we are talking about today. They invaded and looted our artifact that caused this whole issue today. I think Godwin Obaseki, Albert Obaze, and the Don Pedro Obaseki would have used that their meet and greet to further call on the UK government to return our looted artifact
That's true.
instead of focusing on discussions on issues that will further polarize the state. There is still big room for amend.
Lastly, on our news review for the past week, it's a sad one involving the person of Anthony Joshua, former heavyweight champion, and his friends who lost their lives. It was really a sad one, Amsat, and when I heard that news, it was a devastating one. And I would say I was not really happy with that news. In fact, nobody would be happy with such a very sad news. And my condolences with the families of the departed, and also I know Anthony Joshua will be going through a whole lot at this point in time, because he has lost two of his close, in fact they are his childhood friends, and these persons are very dear to him. Both of them are part of his team, fitness coach and personal trainer, all of that. So these persons are not just friends, they are part of the family, part of the team, and all of that. So I would say it's a very sad one, and it's a sad one for the sport world. And again, I will really have to say this year, we really have to be safety conscious, most especially while plying our roads. So I just, during this time, a lot of persons were already denigrating the country, saying we have bad roads. And from investigation, it was not even, the problem was not with the road, it was a case of high speed.
And the station truck.
Yes, and the station truck was parked. It was parked by the side, not that it was parked on the road. So it's a normal, the parking was not it was not wrongfully parked. It was not obstructing vehicular movement. So it's just a case of overspeeding, where when after when the car overspeeds, the tire gets blown out, and that's what happened. Mechanical issues from overspeeding and all of that. So we just, even in the UK, in Liverpool, just last year, Liverpool also lost one of their players, Diogo Jota, by the same road accident. So road accidents can happen anywhere. So it's just a matter of being careful when driving. So it's just like when you're on the highway, you have to be conscious. So you don't, because you are on a fast car, you forget that overspeeding can lead to a lot of damage. So it's painful that this has happened. So this is a lesson for everyone out there. So when riding, safety first is very important. And
Very important.
at this point, I would say, please, what I would just say, If you are driving, ensure your car you must have a speed limit, a personal speed limit if possible. When you are on the highway, have a personal speed limit. Know when you are crossing the line so that you can come back, because if not, it can lead to irreparable damage like this. So these lives that have been lost they can't be brought back. So it's gone and it's gone. So that is one of the dangers of not being careful while driving.
Exactly.
So just imagine now, how is Anthony Joshua going to forget all of this? I just hope this doesn't affect his boxing career, because for a very long time he will feel traumatized
Exactly.
as a result of this sad
Not easy.
event. So it's not going to be easy for him. So it's better we take caution while we still have the time, and while we still have the opportunity, because you see this life, it doesn't come twice. It's gone, it's gone. So while we are here, while we are present, while at this moment, we must be very, very cautious.
Exactly.
So my condolences to the families who take part.
Exactly. Same here. You remember, even during the week, days after the accident happened, you see the driver was taken into custody and is currently being investigated as we speak, because that accident ought to have been avoided, because it is avoidable. Just imagine the precious lives that they lost because of the accident. And if you recall, or if you know, the Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) will tell you it is not accident. They will call it a crash, because they said accident is what is not avoidable. You see, but a car crash can be avoidable. So you cannot call a vehicular a mishap as accident, like that of that have to do with Anthony Joshua or the Diego Jota stuff. I use this medium to also admonish other road users to always at all times observe safety measures, because for you to be on the steering, be on the wheel, it shows that you are qualified as a driver, and as a qualified driver at all times you ought to observe safety rules. And in observing safety rules, all in a bid to avert road crashes, not just for yourself but for other road users. But in this case of Anthony Joshua, it seems as if the driver just took advantage of the smooth tarred road to just speed without none of the passengers cautioning him. We are advising that every road user, whether you are driving a motorcycle, or you are driving a tricycle, or you are riding bicycle, even if you are trekking, as long as you are on the road, try and observe safety rules. And again, also a sad one, if you still remember, the week under review, we lost 7 journalists in Gombe to road crashes. That incident did not get the attention like that of Tony Joshua, though both have to do with road crash. However, what we are saying here is that we should at all time observe safety measures while plying the road, and same time using this medium to extend our condolence to the family of those that lost their life in the car crash in the week under review, talking about the close allies to boxer Anthony Joshua, and the families of the 7 journalists that also lost their lives in the car crash. So, Louis.
A lot of happenings from that of Don Pedro Paseki, Ibadan, Seyi Makinde, Fayose, a whole lot. Attorney Joshua, and also the journalists who lost their lives and the friends of Asset Joshua. I would say the week was filled with a whole lot of happenings, but it is what it is. That was all we had on our news review for the past week, and we say thank you for taking our time to watch every one of our review. I'll say until then, see you again next week.